So I haven't started this Bluebird in probably in about a year and a bit's time, and I think it's going to be typically Japanese, where I'm going to connect it up and it's going to start on the button. So there's nothing else you can really say about these Japanese cars. They're just so well built, and the Bluebird especially, right? Because everyone remembers them as being taxis, 300,000 miles on the clock. But yeah, so let's pull it out and see what it's all about. Typical Japanese interior in here. Look, the Recaro seats. There we go. Typically Jap, right? So yes, I mean, the reason I really kind of like these cars is I think it's the experience, and I think it's our reliving our youth is a lot to do with this. And like I mentioned before, right, it's that smell, isn't it? When you get into the car, you can almost like smell your childhood in it, listen to these old tunes, and going to weddings or going to ristoda's houses, right? There was no sat nav back in those days. Mum and dad arguing, dad passing at the A to Z. Butler! Where are we supposed to turn? And Mum's like, I don't know where we're supposed to turn. All of those good, fond memories, right, that you just do not get nowadays. They all come flooding back to me. I used to remember sitting in the back of the car, looking at all these orange dials, which used to kind of light up. And I think if you haven't experienced that, or you really, don't know what it's about, then it's really difficult to explain to anyone that why is he getting excited over some orange lights in a car, or the way the dashboard looks. I remember the first time I saw a rev counter, I was like, yeah man, we've got a rev counter in the car. And now everyone obviously has a rev counter in, but back for the days then we didn't. And now you kind of used to look at, how fast is dad going and how many revs have I got, all those little things that I'm sure people can relate to, is what really makes the whole driving experience of driving one of these cars or driving these old cars really, really nice. This car was actually sitting in a garage. It had been abandoned for, I think, around about 7 or 8 years. A builder went to do some work and he posted up on the Bluebird forum, I was a member of that, what are these cars worth in the condition that it was in. Anyway, he got it running, and then he ran it for a little bit of time, and then said, actually, is anyone interested in buying this car? Man, I was on it, and I kind of messaged him straight away and said, right, I don't care, I haven't seen the car, I want to buy it. Paid him the dues. A friend of mine went up, collected it. I know when it came, everything looks better in pictures. Even I look better in pictures, but this looks a lot better in pictures. But it didn't matter to me because A, I couldn't find one, and B, secondly, I've got the skill set, and the team to kind of help me put this car back together. And that was how I actually found this particular example. And I kind of think it's now at a place, this car is, I think, probably where I can't actually do anything else, and I didn't really want to do anything else in this car. You look at it, the only thing you'll really notice is the stance and how the car actually sits. The rest is as it came from the factory. Yeah, I mean, sitting in here just brings back so many memories. And it's such a simple car, right? But yet they kind of gave you so much. I mean, with the ZX Turbo, you've got these lovely electric Recaro seats. I have changed the stereo in here, as I do. You've seen other videos. I fit a DSP, I fit a nice cassette player in it. Just a very, very basic car. 5-speed box, no one-touch windows, all these little warning lights. That kind of come here. I used to love putting the ignition key in when I was young. Obviously, when I couldn't drive, you'll be sitting in the car pretending you could actually drive. And I remember leaving the lights on a couple of times, and dad trying to start the car in the morning and the battery being flat. But yeah, this takes me to such a happy place. The dials are really simple in this car, and that's it's very typically Japanese in here. You've got your oil pressure. I mean, this is the turbo, right? So you've basically got 7, 0 and +7 when the car comes on boost. I mean, it's 135 brake horsepower, which nowadays doesn't sound like a lot, but back in the days, Golf GTI 16 valve was 137 brake. A lot of cars were around about those kind of things, and everything just faces you. Is everything you need is just there, and the steering wheel is nicely proportioned. It's a 4-spoke steering wheel, so you can either cruise like this, you can gave you bragging rights when you're, when you're at a car show. But yeah, very simple 4-cylinder. I mean, it's got a small little turbo on there. It hasn't even got an intercooler, but it doesn't really matter. I just kind of think it's a nice, easy engine to work on. Even before I had the BMWs, right? Dad, like I said, had Bluebirds, and this is where I kind of learned some of my basic mechanical stuff. Was on these Japanese cars. I mean, I fitted a strut brace on there, but yeah, this is how the engine sits, and it's still going strong today. 100,000 miles on the clock. You know, it's doesn't smoke, and it runs how it's supposed to run. Now, another thing that this car came with from the factory was self-leveling suspension, but trying to find self-leveling suspension is just non-existent. So there are a couple of options, and what's really popular with the Bluebird guys is you fit Mark II Golf front coilovers, and that's what this car is running. So on the front it's running Mark II Golf coilovers with adjustable camber plates, which kind of let me take the car down to the height I wanted. And on the rear it's running Subaru Impreza bug-eye coilovers, so you can fit those, and you have to weld them, and you have to do a little jiggery pokery to make them work. I mean, it is a bit low. I mean, the mud flaps touch the floor when you go around the corner, but hey, if it ain't scraping, it ain't low enough. Right, so the eagle-eyed viewers may be thinking, hold on, this is a turbo, there's no boot spoiler. And that's right. So when I got the car, it had a boot spoiler on there, but it wasn't the right boot spoiler. Now, I have been looking for a ZX Turbo boot spoiler for a saloon. Found a couple of hatchback ones, haven't found a saloon one. So if there's someone out there who's got one, let me know. However, I'm getting quite used to this having quite a nice, clean look on the car. So I'm in two minds, but yeah, if one pops up, I think I'll probably stick it on. If it doesn't, I think the car looks kind of quite crisp and less cluttered without the spoiler on. The badge actually got done in red. You know, it normally comes in silver, and you normally have Nissan Bluebird here, but I quite liked it to be a little bit cleaner. So I've left that off, but I've kind of left the turbo badge on, so at least people know that there's a turbo in front of them. Another really cool feature of these cars is check out this vent, right? Now, this is not specific to the turbo. They all had these, but you know, there's just something about it when you kind of look at the front of the car and you look at the bonnet and you look down and you see these lines slowly going in, and then you see this and you kind of think, yeah, man, what's that hiding? It's not hiding anything, because it's just stuck on from the factory. But I just kind of think it looks absolutely brilliant. As I was saying before, right, this car had lived a sheltered life. This is how the car was. I mean, it's mine's a little bit like Car SOS, but you know, these are what barn finds are about, and that's probably a clearer picture. This kind of gives you an idea of the state of the car was in when it was found, but it also goes to show you that with a little bit of love and a little bit of care, this is what they can turn out to be.